Om Sadashivasamarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Pariyantam Vande Guru Paramparam. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Om Shri Radha Krishnaya Namaha. Om Shri Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. Please be seated in case you're wondering what I'm doing back here on the stage again. Swamiji has not been feeling well this morning, so I'm going to be doing a meditation. Hopefully we'll do a meditation. I'm not prepared, but we'll see where it goes. Manish, we have batteries here? Would we have batteries here, double A? Just keep it in case the battery goes off. Thank you. Batteries. Suresh, we have batteries? Okay, we'll start with our prayers. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So, for those of you who came just for this class by Swamiji, sorry, you're going to get a different kind of meditation today. Many times Swamiji does mantra japa meditations here, right? Most of you might already have a favorite mantra. No, not right now. Not right now. Thank you. So many of you have a favorite mantra that you might be using on a regular basis, or and mantras can be short, long. Swamiji has spoken many times about the effectiveness of a mantra. Obviously, if you've been using the same mantra over decades, and when you when you sit down to meditate, use the mantra, and your mind wanders. Does that happen to anybody? Only a few? I'm really impressed. Especially if you've used a mantra for a long period of time, and the same mantra, I mean, then the tendency for it to become mechanical is very high. And that's one of the reasons Swamiji teaches different mantras every time we meet here, so that you have an opportunity to pick which mantra works for you on that particular day. If you feel over time that your mind is wandering quicker with the same mantra you've been using, then perhaps time to think about switching a mantra. And some people have a little bit of guilt might be a strong word, just a reluctance, because they have gone through this mantra diksha. Their guru has given them a particular mantra, and they're afraid not to use that mantra. Puja Swamiji has said the story when the guru gives. So there was this disciple who wanted a mantra from the guru very badly, and goes to the guru, and guru knows he was not ready to receive a mantra, not sufficiently prepared for receiving a mantra, and the guru tells him, I think this is my own version of the story, the guru tells him, when you sit to meditate, don't think of a monkey. And what happens when the disciple sits to meditate? The first thought that comes is a monkey jumping around or a monkey eating a banana. So our minds are very suggestive like that, So if a mantra has been, when you sit down and a mantra that you've been using for a very long time is not holding your attention, not holding your mind, it's fine to switch a mantra. It's fine to change the mantra. And then you can decide, obviously you're going to be the best person to know when a mantra, when the original mantra you've used is working again for you. So we do a wide range of mantras here. I thought I'll take off on that because I didn't know I was going to teach this class today. I just found out 5 minutes back. So I thought we'll do a slight spin-off on this concept of, so mantra is really an object of our attention that we use while meditating. We hold on to that mantra. Hold on in the sense, you chant a mantra, the next thought that is coming is going to be the chant of the mantra. And it's a sequential. So you're holding that same mantra again and again and again and again, which prevents the mind from wandering. Of course, the mind still wanders. What happens when the mind wanders? We bring it back to the mantra. We go back to the chanting of the mantra. So today we're going to do a little spin-off on that. Instead of a mantra, which most of you are used to, we're going to choose a word or a phrase that we want to hold on to use as an anchor for our meditation. And a word or a phrase, it can be in whatever language you think. Many of us who grew up in India or didn't, when studied in our native languages, may be thinking in our mother tongue. We may not think in English or whatever you're hearing. So you can pick a word or a phrase in any language you want. Obviously, you have to pick it in a language that you know, otherwise it's not going to make any sense. Pick a word or a phrase and what kind that we're going to use as our quote-unquote mantra, that we're going to use as our anchor to come back to during the meditation. And what kind of phrase or word would you pick? Obviously, we don't want to pick a word or phrase that has a negative connotation, like anger. Imagine if you use a word that as anger for your meditation. Very likely it's going to get associated with those who make you angry, those who push your buttons, and then you're going to get angry during the meditation because the mind has gone there. Or I don't know, like really negative words like murder, and I don't know why I'm saying, I like to watch a lot of these law shows, and so there's a lot of police and law, and nowadays you don't have to watch the shows, you can see it on real TV, live events happening. So you don't want to pick a word or a phrase that makes a negative emotion come up. Negative emotions can still come. We'll talk about that in a little bit. You also don't want to, so now you want to pick a word or a phrase that brings up love or kindness in you. And for many people, this can be a child, a name of a child, a pet. But what happens, unless the child is really a baby, what happens many times your child has pushed your buttons at some time or the other. So very likely, I can see some parents looking at their children, very, very quickly, very likely, that word is again going to trigger a reaction that is not intended to do. So don't pick a name of your spouse or your pet or your spouse. I don't think most people will pick because there are definitely triggers there, but even children can give triggers. You can pick a word, think of a word, and the reason I'm elaborating on this is because you're going to be thinking of a word that you're going to use for this meditation. So pick a word that gives you like hope, a positivity, a feeling of encouragement. Many people pick words like love, peace. I know in one class, one student, when I used to teach this meditation many years back, one student said she picked the word focus because that was the word is the focus for the meditation. So okay, I'll give you a minute for all of you to just think of a word that you would like to pick for your meditation. So this is not going to be one size fits all. This is one size fits only you. So pick a word or phrase that you think represents positivity, represents something good for you. I'll give you a minute and then we'll continue. And it can be in whatever language you want to use. Okay? Everybody got a word? Anybody got more than one word? Confused? Okay, I'll give you a few more seconds. Pick the winner for today. The word for today. Yes? No, you don't have to tell Mira. We'll come to that later. Yeah. Your word is your secret word. Of course, his word is now shared by everybody, but that's fine. Okay, so once you pick a word that you feel you want to use for this meditation, it is possible that during the meditation, even though the word you have picked embodies positivity, embodies peace, calmness, love, it may still trigger some reactions for you, which are not love, peace, positivity. And if that happens for you during the meditation, instead of switching, so there are two options. You can either choose another word, which I would suggest not to do. Instead of choosing another word, just sit with that feeling. Whatever feeling comes up, and this is really a part of how we train our minds, part of mindfulness, meditation, that we learn to be comfortable with whatever comes up. We learn to watch our minds with whatever reaction comes up, whatever emotion comes up. Most of the time we are reacting, not acting deliberately in any of our interactions when we are in a difficult situation, or even in our daily chores. When you get up in the morning and go brush your teeth, how deliberate an action is that? Most of the time it's just automated, and nowadays you have the automated toothbrushes. You really don't have to do anything. You just stand there and let the toothbrush do its job. So by sitting with whatever comes up for us during the meditation, it's training our minds, our brains, to just observe. And this is key because this is what Sakshi Bhava is about. In Vedantic terms, this is what we are learning to be, is the observer of anything that comes up. So we are going to use, everybody has a word or phrase, and it doesn't have to be one word, it can be a phrase, like 2-3 words. Everybody has something now that we can work with. So instead of me talking too much, we will let our word or phrase do the talking. Okay, so we'll begin our practice. Actually, I have an addendum to Pinky's announcement. You can leave your phones on if you want, and then if the phone rings, somebody's phone rings, see what happens to you when you're meditating. Of course, don't deliberately leave it on, but if it's on, let it be on. And you can turn off all the lights. Usha, thank you. Yeah. Okay. So for any meditation, posture is important. Only it's not an end of the meditation. It's just a way, one less thing to distract us. So you sit comfortably in your chairs. If you're sitting on the floor chairs, your legs are probably folded, and you can instead of leaning all the way back, you can just bring your back a little forward, tuck your tailbone, tuck your butt behind against the back of the chair, and the rest of the body can be upright. If you're sitting on the regular chairs, make sure your feet are put firmly flat on the ground so that you have a better posture. And if the chair is too big, you can come in the front to make sure your feet are on the floor. The idea is your neck and back are perpendicular to the seat of the chair, seat of your body. And you can keep your hands either clasped together in front of you, they can be on your lap, palms facing down, palms facing up, whatever feels comfortable for you. The idea is this posture, whatever posture you choose, should not distract you during the meditation, and it should be comfortable. If you're sitting very uncomfortably, it is going to distract you during the meditation. And the eyes can be closed gently or lowered. If you are uncomfortable to close your eyes completely, you can lower your eyes. And just take a moment to become aware that you're sitting here in a relaxed, comfortable, yet alert posture. A posture that will facilitate us during the meditation. And take a moment to see how you're breathing. Without changing your breath, just observe how your breath is. Is it deep? Is it shallow? And if any part of your body feels uncomfortable or tight, you can just adjust yourself at this moment to make yourself comfortable and observe your breath. Just observe the fact that you are breathing. We are not controlling our breath, we are just noticing how we breathe. And after getting comfortable with the posture, with the body and our breathing, we turn to our minds, observing what thought is coming up right now, if any. There might be questions in your mind. What kind of meditation am I going to be doing? There might be to-do lists, things that need to get done. There might be some worry, something that needs to be resolved. Whatever thoughts are there in your mind, you just observe them without getting carried away with a particular thought. And if there are no thoughts, you observe that as well. So for this meditation, I now request you to bring that word or phrase you have chosen into your mind. And you're going to be using that word or phrase as an anchor, like a mantra, for this meditation, which means every time you get distracted or your mind wanders off away from your chosen word or phrase, you try and bring it back. There are different ways, several ways that we can use our word or phrase for this meditation. You can maybe see the word or phrase you've chosen written out, being written out slowly, deliberately, paying attention to every detail of the writing of the word or the phrase you've chosen. You can choose to hear the word or phrase being spoken, or you can use your word or phrase to see what emotions it is invoking in you. So what is the feeling? So I would suggest at this time, pick one aspect, either the seeing of the word or phrase, seeing it being written or you writing it yourself, the hearing or the repetition of this word or phrase, either by yourself or somebody else, or sitting in the embrace of this word or phrase, seeing what emotions, if any, it is invoking for you. So at this time, I invite you to pick one aspect that you want to choose, you want to use for today's meditation with your word or phrase. And once you've picked what you want, how you want to proceed with this meditation, you bring up that word or phrase in your mind. Seeing it repeatedly written, heard, spoken, or seeing how you're feeling when this word or phrase is repeated. And use that for the rest of the meditation. being very deliberate in how you are using your word in your practice today. If you're choosing to use the word being written, be very detail oriented in how the word is being written, what language, where it's being written, with what is it being written. And if the noise of the heater going on in the room or a phone ringing has distracted you from your word or phrase, observe that distraction. And without any judgment, without being harsh on yourself, that you shouldn't have gotten distracted, your mind shouldn't have wandered away, you just gently pull it back to your word. If you're using hearing or the sound of your word, be very deliberate in how you're listening to the sound. Is there a melody? Is there intonations? Is there a pitch of when this word is repeated? And if you're using what feelings are coming up, be very detail attentive to that as you recite this word or phrase in your mind. What kind of feelings, emotional reactions, if any, are coming up for you? And if your mind has not wandered off already, it is bound to. Just notice when the mind wanders off. That itself, in itself, is training our brains to notice the mind has gone off from this word or phrase, and very gently, without any self-talk, without any criticism, we very gently bring our attention, our awareness to our word. And every single time the mind wanders away, gets distracted with whatever sounds, discomfort in the body, our thoughts, our emotions, whenever we get pulled away from being aware of seeing or hearing or feeling what comes up with the word we've chosen, we just gently draw our mind back. So we're training our minds to observe, quote unquote, see or hear or feel our word or phrase in this meditation. And just like when we use a mantra to be anchored, to focus, we are using our word. And we'll continue to do so in silence for a minute or so. And as we come to the conclusion of the meditation, in the next 10 seconds, I invite you to open your eyes or raise your eyes and stretch out if you need to, becoming aware of the surroundings. And opening your eyes when you're ready. So at the end of meditations like this, I usually like to, throw it open to the students to just share, if you're comfortable, any experience you had, any thoughts, only because it helps you understand more clearly what your mind was doing, what the meditation was about. So if anybody would like to share, happy to entertain questions, thoughts. Yes?
Can I share the word?
Yes, of course. Now you can share.
So I use Om, and I had to keep bringing my mind back. It kept wandering off. I found the mantra to be a little more, to be a better, more stable anchor than Om. So I tried to keep thinking about the significance of Om, but my mind kept wandering off.
So Om, Vikramji is saying he used Om for the meditation as his word. And many of you have heard Swamiji say shorter words can be harder for our minds to hold on to. So a longer phrase or a longer mantra might hold your attention. But I would add to that, today, perhaps your mind was wandering off more with a shorter word. Tomorrow, your mental status might be very different. So just because it didn't work today, it wandered off more. But the idea is really to see that it wandered off and to recognize for yourself that, hey, today the Om didn't quite work for me.
I actually couldn't stay on one word. I just kept thinking. I went to one and then this one. Then finally, I think after some time, I stayed on one something. Chidananda,
So his mind couldn't stay on one word, and that happens many times, especially if the word is short, or if you have not, we just meditated for like 20 minutes, I think. It's sometimes 20 minutes is not enough for the mind to really settle down. We sometimes need preparation of 20, 30 minutes before we start a meditation. So it's good that you observed that your mind was wandering off. How did it make you feel when your mind was going from one word to another? What is the usual experience? But the mind is wandering, but did it trigger anything for you? Like, oh my gosh, my mind is wandering, or I'm putting words in your mouth, which I shouldn't do. Okay, so he didn't, nothing triggered for him. So his mind was wandering to different words, and you were Satchidananda Atma during the meditation.
This technique actually works.
Just 1 second, yeah, sorry, go ahead.
No, it's what Swamiji always guides us in
Yeah.
Satchidananda from him. So that kind of.
So during the meditation, he really was his word, Satchidananda Atma. Yes, at the back you had a comment.
So this technique actually was very different because you said think of a word and then maybe meditate. I use the word gratitude, and I started thinking of the various things, so many things that you are grateful for. So I was focused and yet I was wandering on various different things.
Yeah.
The family, all of the facilities, the park, and then the job that I had and my retirement, all of that. I'm grateful for all of the various things. But I was thinking about all those various things and was focused on that. So it was wandering and yet it was focused.
So the word he used was gratitude, and during the meditation, he was thinking about all the things he was grateful for. You were thinking about them, wandering, but not feeling. I mean, you might have been feeling, yeah, feeling gratitude. So the three options I had given, and sometimes this meditation works for some people it doesn't. The seeing of a word being written out, of it being heard, or just how you feel when that word comes up. So for you, it seems like it was the last option, that you were feeling gratitude, which was good. I'm presuming it was good for you.
Focused as well is what I'm trying to
Okay, so
different way.
gotcha. So it was focused in a different way. Yes.
I really appreciated the image of painting or like imagining the word being written out, and I did focus on it being painted. And what's interesting is that I then created a background story in my mind of, oh, this person's painting, and then this person's angry with the person who's painting it wrong, and mine still ended up, making a whole
Story. So she used the painting or the seeing of the word written out, but then the triggers, whatever you said, somebody painting it, this person is angry. So those are the distractions. And what we need to do when we see the mind going off on its own story, which is absolutely normal for the mind to do. That's how our minds work, is to just bring it back to the actual writing. So in one class, I remember one woman telling me that she was actually seeing the word written cursive versus printing. And that was the amount of detail. So that really holds your mind if you have to do the detail, You're not thinking about. So that's the other thing I think we make a mistake, is that it's not an intellectual exercise. We are trying to not think about it, but just, I don't know how to explain it really well, be in the presence of that writing without thinking, without using non-verbal thinking. That's the word I was looking for. Okay, anybody else? Yeah.
I was decided between two words, Shanti and Shakti. And finally I picked Shanti, and I was kind of silently chanting on Shanti and feeling that peace. But when I think phone rang and I got distracted and then my
kind of trying not to switch and then went back to.
So she had two words, choice Shanti, peace, versus Shakti, strength. And she chose Shanti until the phone rang, somebody's phone rang. But that is normal, right? That is a trigger on how our emotions can be. This was, of course, a little trigger, just a phone ringing, hopefully. But when you're in deep meditation and a sound jars you, kind of. I think it happened to me a couple days back. I was just like, when you're in that stage, you're just going deeper and deeper, and suddenly the snowplow, tada, tada, he was making that noise. I said, oh my God, that was gone. My meditation was over. But as long as you're able to observe your mind, okay, I feel like I need to change, and what happens if I change? What happens if I don't change? So the idea is to hold on as much as you can. Of course, if you choose a word and it's just not working for you after 10 minutes or 15 minutes, then give yourself permission to change the word, or even the way you're connecting with the word. Yes?
So I had 3 words which I had selected: love, joy, and peace. So when you said like you can write them down, so you kind of like throwing in a cursive way in front of me. And then when you said like have the words embrace you, you know how you have like as if like they were swirling around you. I found it very good.
So she used love, joy, and peace, and while writing, enveloped by these feelings. And that's such a, I don't like to label saying good or bad. That was an experience for her today. It may not be the same tomorrow, but this is what she felt when using the words for today's meditation. Okay, anybody else have any questions or comments? Anybody didn't work, the meditation or the word you chose didn't work at all, or worked the opposite of what you thought it would? Yes?
I used the word compassion, and then when he was talking about thinking, it changed how I thought about certain people to feeling about them instead.
So the word compassion, you would predict it would bring up good feelings, good thoughts, but for you it changed halfway through or sometime?
It changed right away, actually. It was more giving people grace that I'm having conflict with.
So giving compassion, showing compassion to people who are difficult in our lives. And that's an important observation to make, that just because you use the word compassion in your meditation doesn't automatically make you feel compassionate, but to recognize that and to not judge yourself on that. Fine, today's meditation, I tried my level best. I even used the word compassion, but I couldn't feel it. And Puja Swamiji says, fake it or make it. You give a rose to somebody you don't care for 40 days, and slowly that changes over time. Hopefully, all the triggers in your life. Okay, if there are no other questions, comments. Okay, we'll end with our prayer. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah, Sarve Santu Niramayaha, Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu, Ma Kaschid Dukkha Bhag Bhavet, Asato Ma Sadgamaya, Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya, Mrityor Ma Amritangamaya. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om. Thank you all for indulging in this meditation, and try this practice at home, either using the same word or a different word, and just see what comes up for you then.